The Cardinals aced the draft. The Cardinals had a solid offseason. They let some guys come off the board who I liked, but they had a clear vision. They went after the correct talent to be able to add on this defensive line. They have a vision of, if you need to be healthy and you need to be a high character player, we will take you here. And the Cardinals did a lot of that really, really well. But the one thing that I'll say, and I have been one of the issues when it comes with this as well, it feels like with the expectations that we're setting on the Arizona Cardinals, we are setting them up for failure. And what do I mean by that? It's not just me getting maybe a little too overhyped about this team, but it's also people like Jonathan Ganon. Yesterday on Jonathan Gannon's Mad Dog radio appearance with, forgot who it was, Adam Shine, I believe it was. He was asked about the fall of Will Johnson. And candidly, Jonathan Gannon basically said, I don't know why he fell. We loved his medicals. This is me paraphrasing, of course. We loved his medicals, or we were at least fine with his medicals. Great player. Best cornerback in the draft. And he fell to us at 47. We just don't get it. And then they drafted him, and then he said that a bunch of people, bunch of defensive coordinators called him up and said, wow, what a pick. What a selection. All of that's great, fine and dandy. But I want to preface it with this. The Arizona Cardinals are not Super Bowl contenders yet. Maybe that changes throughout the course of the season and expectations change. Maybe the Cardinals start 11-0, 11-1, 9-3, and you're like, well, heck, maybe they can figure it out. But a lot of this season does rest on this defense, who we like the pieces they have, but is it going to change the perspective of the Arizona Cardinals season as a whole? Will Johnson, as much as I love him, and I believe I've been the president of the Will Johnson fan club, it does feel like, for example, we're setting him up for failure at least a little bit. It is hard to play cornerback in the NFL. When you are a highly sought-after cornerback and you set him on an island with one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, he's probably going to get cooked for a game, maybe 4. Because it's easy to go from a guy who's going to be a lawyer at Grambling State or Wisconsin University and lock that guy down. And what's going to help him is he's going to be going up against Marvin Harrison Jr. every day, and that's also great for Marvin Harrison Jr. But he's going to struggle at first. I would be dumbfounded if Will Johnson just came out of the gate dominating. It's hard in the NFL. I believe second greatest learning curve outside of quarterback in the NFL is cornerback. Because you go from defending guys who are going to be working at Panera Bread in a couple of weeks here to Justin Jefferson, Marvin Harrison Jr., these types of players, elite level players, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, all these guys. And there's a learning curve there. And it doesn't mean he's not going to be awesome. I think he's going to be. But it's going to take a little bit of time. So in the first part of the season, what needs to happen is the offense needs to carry the defense. Because I don't think the defense is going to be the 85 Bears or the 2002 Ravens right away. I think it'd be foolish to think that. So what needs to happen is the defense needs to be able to come into their own later in the season, and the offense needs to be able to cover the defense's ass. Because there's a lot of young players on this defense, whether it's Rabbit Taylor Demerson, Garrett Williams, Jordan Birch, Will Johnson, Walter Nolan. There's a lot of new players on this team, and not to mention new faces as a whole. And although I love the defense of the Arizona Cardinals, especially on paper, you do have to look at this team and say, okay, give it a month for them to figure it out. Everyone to know each other's ers and ahs, crossing T's, dotting I's, knowing where Cody Simon likes to be in a zone or where Will Johnson likes to be in a zone or how Garrett Williams operates in the slot or Calais Campbell's new role with the Arizona Cardinals defensively. Let him step into that leadership role. Maybe it doesn't take 4 games, but it does feel like we're setting the Cardinals up to fail early. This is still a team that struggled down the stretch last year. And although I think this defense is going to be really good, let's set the expectations down like a notch or two. Next season, doing this exact thing next year when the Cardinals are coming off of a very good defensive end to their season, then we're talking about them being one of the better defenses in the NFL. But a lot of this league, so much of it is about chemistry. And the first couple of weeks, it's going to be hard for these starters to be able to know each other well enough to where they don't have to go cover that kind of ground because they know Will Johnson will be there. Or they don't have to worry about Jordan Burch coming off the edge because they know he's going to be able to get there and who he works with and what's a better matchup for him. Budda Baker's going to have a lot of conducting to do on this defense with help from Calais Campbell. So, to think at first that the Cardinals are just going to come out swinging, putting up 0, 0, 0s just right out of the gate, I think that's a little unrealistic and setting your football team up for failure. After 4 weeks, I expect this defense to be really good. I mean, one of the better top half of the defenses in the NFL. But in the beginning, it could be a little rocky. It could still be that bend but don't break defense. That's where I would land on that. And so with that being said, offensively, the Cardinals have to carry the defense. What cannot happen is Drew Petzing comes out and is conservative, doesn't let Kyler cut the ball loose downfield. And what can really derail the Cardinals season is this offense not figuring it out again. And this is squarely a Drew Petzing issue. This is not a Kyler Murray issue. Early parts of the season, we've seen Kyler Murray thrive. You guys remember that Titans opening game a couple of years ago? He was good against the Buffalo Bills. This team has weapons. And I talked about yesterday going and getting another one in Keenan Allen. Even if they don't do anything, if they stand pat with what they have, there's enough here. And offensively, in the beginning parts of the season, we'll break down the schedule when it shows up. But these guys have got to be able to carry the defense. These are a lot of young players defensively. Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray need to be able to figure it out to a point where they are leading this offense. And so you're looking at this team offensively, and you're like Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Kyler Murray. There's a lot of big expectations for everyone. There needs to be a ginormous leap in year 2 for Marvin Harrison Jr. I know people say things like, to defend Marv, well, 800, 900 yards isn't a bust of a season. 8 touchdowns isn't a bust of a season. No one's saying he's being a bust. What we are saying is he's not living up to the number 4 overall pick aspirations early. When you're a 4 pick in the NFL draft, you need to come out with 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's the minimum, especially in a 17-game season. That's 1 game more than what it used to be. Expectations are just higher. You passed up on Joe Alt. Marvin Harrison Jr. was the pick. He has to be someone who takes that second-year leap. Drew Petzing has to be willing to cut the loose ball downfield. James Conner cannot take a step back. This defense, in the early parts of the season, is going to be asking a lot of this offense. And that's because they need to be up for the task. But what I want to tell Cardinals fans is this. They're not a Super Bowl contender yet. There are steps that need to be taken in the NFL for you to become a Super Bowl contender. Maybe things change. Maybe they're 12-2 through 14 games of the season, and even I'm like, yeah, they're Super Bowl contenders. But what I see this team being is a 8-5 team, a 7-5 team. What they were at the beginning parts of last year through 11 weeks, that's what I expect them to be, but I expect them to build off that in the second half of the season to where they finish with 11-12 wins. I don't want irrational expectations to pop up that now that they just got Jordan Burch and Will Johnson, they're Super Bowl contenders. There are steps to be taken in this league, and the Cardinals are taking those steps. First year, it was a full-on, clean it out, rebuild, get rid of anyone outside of 3 guys who were Steve Keim draft picks. The second year it was, okay, get Kyler Murray back in the fold. We'll see how it is. Hopefully this offense can get it going later on in the season. Kyler can show he's a franchise quarterback. And for some of those things, they check those boxes. Kyler still has a couple of question marks. And in year 3 now, you're expected to make the playoffs. And that should be the only expectations for the Cardinals, is to make the playoffs. But if Kyler Murray wants to show that he's the guy, he's got to win a playoff game. And then right there is a successful season. The Cardinals will not be playing with house money until they have won a wild card game, which is what I project them to be, a wild card team. Win a wild card game, go to the divisional, and then after that, it's house money. And then the next season, when you add another slew of draft picks and you go and get that next blue chip player to add to this roster, then you're a Super Bowl contender. But we need to take the steps here. Oftentimes, as Arizona sports fans, we want to go from here to here, and that's the issues of what the Phoenix Suns did. You can't microwave success. Put it in the oven, put some spices in it, bake it, put the oven at 350, let it sit for an hour. That's the better way to build this team. If they're ahead of schedule and they're awesome halfway through the season, I'll adjust my expectations accordingly. But what I don't want Cardinals fans to do is start overrating a rookie in Will Johnson, who will have a little bit of a learning curve, but I think is going to be awesome. But in the beginning, it's going to be a little murky. Jordan Birch defensively off the edge, it's going to be a little tough at first. And this defensive line, who goes in here? Who subs in here? How's Calais Campbell going to be? Is he going to take a step back? Is Dalvin Tomlinson going to get paid and step back? Budda Baker, is he falling apart a little bit? There are questions to be answered. I think largely a lot of them will get answered, and this will be a playoff team. But at first, through the first couple of weeks in the season, give them a little bit of a break. It's the offense that should be judged very harshly. They've been together for long enough. They need to figure it out. And so with that being said, they have to carry this team through the early parts of the season, not the defense. And so the expectations right now feel a little high, just a little high. If the Cardinals get to the divisional game, then they're playing with house money. That's all it should be. As of right now, let's just take the steps. Next year, potential Super Bowl contender. This year, let's just make it to the divisional and show everyone we're ready to take that next step, and we add the blue chipper and we add more draft picks. That's what the Cardinals have to do. Not overvalue what they are right now and then set them up for failure because they make the playoffs, but they didn't win a playoff game or something of that matter.